The United Nations says nearly a third of people in Gaza are going days without food. The UN's World Food Program is warning that some 90,000 women and children are in urgent need of treatment for malnourishment. Nearly 500,000 people are expected to face what it calls catastrophic hunger by September. Israel controls what is allowed into Gaza. It denies there are restrictions on getting aid into the territory and blames Hamas for the crisis.
Crowds of the hungry hoping to get whatever food they can. Aid workers dole out soup to hundreds in Gaza City, with lives hanging in the balance. Local health authorities say dozens of people have starved to death in the last few weeks.
Finding food has become very difficult. When I leave, our children faint at home. It's been 2 days and I, as an adult, haven't been able to move. We're now hoping for a bite.
For people here, getting their hands on what little humanitarian aid exists has been dangerous and often deadly. These funerals in Khan Yunis for those who were allegedly killed by the Israeli military while waiting for food.
He went to get a bag of flour. He was martyred because of a bag of flour. A 17-year-old boy was martyred. What did he see in his life? He went hungry.
The UN says that since May, more than 1,000 Palestinians have been killed while waiting for food aid. It also blames Israel for the hunger crisis, accusing it of blocking food deliveries into Gaza. But Israel says enough aid is reaching the Strip. It says Hamas has been disrupting deliveries. The head of the United Nations sounded the alarm, warning the world not to look away from Gaza.
I cannot explain the level of indifference and the inaction we see by too many in the international community. The lack of compassion, the lack of truth, the lack of humanity. And this is not just a humanitarian crisis, it's a moral crisis that challenges the global conscience. We will continue to speak out at every opportunity, but words don't feed hungry children.
Israeli Army radio says Israel will once again allow foreign countries to parachute supplies into Gaza as it faces growing international pressure. On Friday, the leaders of Britain, France, and Germany issued a joint statement calling on Israel to lift restrictions on the flow of aid to allow the UN and other groups to do their work.
I'm now joined by Fawaz Gerges, professor of Middle Eastern politics and international relations at the London School of Economics. So officials in Israel either deny that there is not enough food in Gaza, or they say that a hunger crisis is not their fault, instead blaming Hamas for the disruption of aid deliveries. What do you make of those claims?
Well, good morning. What do you expect? What do you expect Israel to say? Israel is desperately trying to deflect blame from what the World Health Organization called this week a man-made mass starvation in Gaza. Just yesterday, as your correspondent mentioned, Germany, the United Kingdom, and France called on Israel to allow humanitarian aid to enter Gaza and to end the humanitarian catastrophe. If you ask me in one word, and this is dozens of governments, United Nations officials, international officials and figures have minutely detailed how Israel weaponized aid in order to pressure Hamas and the Palestinians. And I think, final point, your viewers, whether they are Germans or throughout the world, they're not naive. They know exactly, they see the images and the pictures and what Israel has been doing in the past 22 months.
Now, Israel has changed its tune to a certain extent and has said it would allow some type of aid drops to enter the territory. Do you think that would be enough to improve the humanitarian crisis in Gaza?
Well, the first question I would ask, why basically parachute food into Gaza? Why not open, the pathway, the crossways, the borders, as the United Nations and the World Health Organization and world governments because parachuting food is a drop in the ocean. Lorries and trucks are cheaper, faster, and more effective. And the reality is the United Nations has made it very clear. They have enough food to feed all Palestinians in Gaza for 3 months. And the lorries and the trucks are basically on the Egyptian-Palestinian borders in Rafah. Only what Israel has to do is just open the crossing, the cross point, the physical crossing point, and it has not been able, has not been willing to do so. I think because it's a political decision by Benjamin Netanyahu and his, coalition members.
Now, Israel seems to be increasingly isolated internationally. In your opinion, what political price is Israel paying for its actions in Gaza?
Well, I mean, look, I'm talking to you from London. I don't exaggerate when I say that the world now, millions of people look at Israel as a rogue state. Public opinions, even in Germany and the United States, the two states that support Israel and provided with arms and ammunition, public opinion is shifting. More and more people in the world look at Israel and say what Israel has been doing in Gaza, this is really no longer a war against Hamas. It's a war against the Palestinians. And the International Criminal Court, the various courts have accused Israel of carrying out war crimes and crimes against humanity. So Israel really its own worst enemy now. And public opinion is shifting against Israel worldwide. And this is really risks the very legitimacy of Israel in the eyes of the world.
All right, that was Fawaz Gerges from the London School of Economics. Thank you very much for your analysis.
Thanks.